You're listening to
Split the Defense.
Leafs Post-Game Edition.
Split the Defense.
Is presented by the Forest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
What up? Here I am. I'm Webby with CP and producer Ted. Just finished the Leafs versus Rangers game, and oh boy. Oh, there we go. A little bit of love, a little bit extra love there. Oh boy, what a game with the Leafs and the Rangers. Did we ever need this one? Did the Leafs ever need this one? They honestly had it in the bag early, and for me, at least, my confidence was through the roof early. And it never, it lapsed in the second period there, but it barely wavered. It simmered right down after that. And this was a Leafs game. This is the kind of Leafs game that we needed to see them win. We've seen them win the other side where they can play the tight game and win those and go through overtime. But, like, just take one away sometimes, too. Like, remind us that you can put the puck in the net. But yeah, what a great start. Willie splits the defense and feeds it to Matty, 1-0. Then Timmins, first goal of the season, 2-0. They end up getting a goal 2-1, but then Yarny makes it 3-1 on a good forecheck. 21 seconds later, Mitch makes it 21 seconds later, Mitch makes it 4-1. So, like, right there and then I was okay, this is great. Like, it was really, really early at this point, and I'm thinking, like, this game's gonna be an 8-5 game or something. And you know what? It was 7-3, so it wasn't too far off. They ended up scoring back on, like, the power play. They traded some chances. You know, they, like, in the second period, they got to 2x, like, they got 2 extra goals, so they got those 3 goals. And, like, I will admit for a second, I did have nerves about it being 4-3, but it really didn't bother me. Marner, once he put the tip with the 5-3, Morgan throwing it on net, Marner tips it in. It's game over. Matty makes it 6-3, Kampf empty net goal 7-3. That is the story of the game. So it was really the Leafs game the whole night. Would you have to agree with me there, CP? Did you think it was not the Leafs game at one point, even though they looked a little shaky?
Oh, for sure. I thought during the second period it was a guaranteed loss. Just like from all the stories coming into the night too, like this is a sick team. Nyes isn't in the lineup, and multiple other guys in the lineup playing aren't feeling well either. Maybe a bit of a celebration night after Tavares 1000. And it's off a back-to-back with your like third goalie in, kind of a scheduled loss. So for them to come out so strong was awesome. But once it started turning around, I felt like that was probably the way that it was going to go for the rest of the game, just based on like all the things I just said. But after, I will say, when Marner gets the tip to make it 5-3, I feel a bit better, but still, I'm a fan that I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, and until the Matty 6-3 goal, I was just like, that's when I said to my girlfriend, like, okay, I can breathe now. But yeah, not necessarily to me a lock for a lot of it, but great though performance to put on for all the dads out that are there on the trip. Like this is the type of game you want. Like a 2-1 game is great, but showing like all of the fathers for the team to get them some goals, like I feel like that was the icing on the top on the cake there.
Yeah, you gotta love having the dads around on the dads trip. I know it means a lot to a lot of the boys, and maybe not just dads, mentors. And I think a big thing was that even right down to the equipment managers were offered to bring a mentor this year. So you had even Sheldon Keefe's dad was there. You had other mentors for other equipment managers and other associate coaches and whoever trainers, and that's important. That's great, and that's fun just to be a group. And some of those dads looked like a whole lot of fun, did they not? Cheering up in the stands, like some of them were just partying, and I really enjoyed it. I like Matthew's dad a lot, but there were a couple of dads I don't know who they were, and they just looked like a lot of fun.
Martin Jones' dad was the best to me because his son is just out there making like 2 or 3 saves at a time, and he doesn't even flinch. He's just sitting there, not a single emotion on his face. It's like, oh, like that's a goalie's dad, you know? Like there's only one breed of person, and obviously he gets it from his dad to be a goalie. But yeah, Austin Matthews' dad sitting there next to Ty Domi, just partying away, like every goal. Like I loved his
What a
responses
sight,
too
eh?
on close goals. Like he gets right into it. Like a true fan
I
right
know.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. What a sight seeing Ryan Matthews next to Ty Domi. That's amazing. I love Ty Domi back in the organization. I'm really happy Max is a part of the organization. It's just happy all around. So Matthews with the goals tonight, he scored 2. On the first goal that he scored, it put him in the league lead for the 20th goal of the season. So this is 8 seasons for Austin Matthews in the NHL, and 8 seasons where he's had 20 goals. The second goal put him at 21, so now he's got a little bit of insurance, and if anybody scored tonight or whoever was close with him, he's got another one, so we're good. So for the second time in his career, Matthews is the first to 20 goals in a season. So in 8 seasons he's been here, twice he's been the fastest to 20 goals. And honestly, that seems low.
Right. Yeah. I think that does seem low, to be honest. He's been one of the best goal scorers for how many years now? And like the best goal scorer for a few of those years. So
He's a Leaf. Slow starts, right?
yeah, I mean, spot on there, Ted.
You read the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matthews, for most consecutive goal seasons in the franchise history, now sits 4th behind Daryl Sittler, who had 9, Ron Ellis, who had 9, and Matt Sundin, who had 13. But he's ahead of Rick Vive, Dave Keon, Phil Kessel, Frank Mahovlich, and Sid Smith.
Yeah.
So he is honestly putting himself into the conversation to be the best Leaf ever. Even if he gets hurt and doesn't play another game after the age of like 28 years old. Like this man is going to be, he's going to break every record before his contract's up. Like all of these records will be shattered, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm zero surprised that he's on this list because, I mean, he's the best player that this franchise has ever seen. You know, hands down in my eyes. So I think that, yeah, he's going to just shatter all these records one after another from here for the next until he leaves us.
Now, unless Mitch Marner scores at a higher pace for longer,
Then we'll just have multiple people breaking the
then
records.
he may lead the points, but I think everything else will be like
Yeah, but
all
Matthews
the
will
other
probably be second.
All the other crazy 20 goal seasons and all these things, you'll see Matthews, and he's going to be there for a long time. So he's the first Leafs player to score 20 goals in 26 games or fewer to begin the season since Wendell Clark in 1993-94. It's been a long time since we've had a player that could score like Austin Matthews. And in 93-94, I believe that was kind of just the beginning of the dead puck era, if I'm not wrong. So I don't know whether that was a higher scoring season or not. I actually think in my memory right now, just thinking of it, that this season is similar to one of those 90s seasons where it went from high scoring 80s to dead puck era.
Yeah, we're in one of the higher scoring ages ever.
We have very high scoring age. So yeah, I wonder, you got to think that there's been a lot of players in the dead puck era, I guess you can go through, but players have been scoring lots of goals for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Easily, and the Leafs haven't had that at all. They haven't had this kind of player, anything like it in any recent memory. And even the guys that you look back at, the greats that you love from those teams in the 90s, they're not even comparable. Not even comparable. They're great and they're awesome and they're fun, but they're no Austin Matthews. Martin Jones. Be a shame if somebody picked him up in fantasy tonight. Me?
You?
Yeah. So I was really like biting my nails at one point. I'm like, hey, they're winning, but like, could you guys let some more easy shots in here on Jonesy so you can stack me here? Because this is not good. He had like a 750 save percentage and was winning the game. Steve Dangle tweeted that piece of information. And I'm like, okay, this is not good for my fantasy checking in. The crazy thing is that shots were 15-8 for the Leafs at one point, and then it was 25-25 with 6 minutes left. So
Right.
it completely flipped on its head.
Yeah. Yeah. The second period had a lot to do with that. And then obviously any team that's defending the lead's probably going to give up more shots than are taken on them. So, or than they take. So, but yeah, it's funny how it evened out pretty quickly there.
It did. And I wanted to ask, I know Martin Jones is no world beater of a goalie, but how valuable is it to have a guy like Martin Jones to be able to come in and take over on a back-to-back tonight? Like, you have a guy coming in, like, what do we have? Dennis Hildeby? Are you even good? I think, like, do we get to a point where we just play Sammy 2 games in a row? Like, I mean, it's nice. It's nice. Leafs haven't had this in a little while. This security of an extra goalie that's just going to be fine. We had Shalgren, but, like,
Yeah. That
nerve-wracking.
didn't count. Yeah.
No, he wasn't great.
No.
And it's just nice to have Martin Jones, NHL goalie, like who I've seen on other NHL teams play against us. And he's like, what is he, 434 games or something?
Yeah.
He's played in the NHL, I think I seen today. It's nice to have a goalie like Martin Jones. He was pretty clutch in some situations. I know he let 3 in, but the narrative I was trying to run with during this game was Martin Jones really is, if you could get a goalie like Martin Jones to stand in there, the Leafs might not have any worries until Joseph Woll is back. Like I said, if Samsonov struggles, we have insurance. We have no worries in this Martin Jones guy. There were a few moments, I will admit, where there's bad rebound control, like the first goal. Like he just was kicking them out into the center. Kicked it out in the center. Gets another one. Kicks it out in the center. Like, absorb it or try to send it to the wall, and I get it's hard, but like at the same time, like it just seemed like a really sketchy style of goaltending for Martin Jones to be playing. Did you have something to say to that, CP?
Yeah, I mean, he's worlds ahead of Samsonov when it comes to his puck control and just his positioning. I think that like I was feeling Joseph Wall vibes with just how calm he felt in net. You are right, totally spot on. Where like that first goal was, a rebound control. Like he could have had it definitely, but I think that like I was kind of like Samsonov we were saying was playing good because there was no one pushing him to take the role or anything, and I'd say there is now. Like I thought Martin Jones came up with some really nice saves tonight. Like I was really impressed on a few times when the game was turning like when it got to like 4-1, and then like right away it could have been 4-3 a lot quicker than it was. So I was very impressed, and yeah, I feel kind of comfy now, waiting until Wall comes back.
It's funny how fast that switched. ACP, we talked about, I'm like, maybe we run Jones and Sammy at a 50-50 because we don't really trust him. You're like, nah, Sammy's the
Yeah.
guy. Sammy's the guy. You see one good game from Jones, you're like, oh, maybe we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny, you flipped the switch on that one pretty quick there.
I
eh?
remember
Yeah,
you guys being like, Wall's this young guy. And I was like, wouldn't it be nice if you guys got that? Like a young player that came through your system and he plays for you. And you're like, guys, you're like, Ted, we don't get that. We're the Leafs.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. I was like, I don't know, maybe. And you're like, no, you're too positive. But I mean, he's the guy.
Oh, definitely Wall's the guy. Like I
Yeah.
felt, I feel,
Yeah, he's our number one.
But when it comes to this, like Martin Jones hasn't played a lot this year. I think he's played 5 games in the AHL, and when he has had like in the preseason, like didn't look amazing. There was kind of like this feeling that maybe there's a reason why no one claimed him on waivers because kind of a goalie that's passed. But I think that when the Leafs play a good game in front of them, then I think that like a lot of goalies can be successful behind that. And I think I just don't give goalies a lot of credit for like when they do play in the AHL. It's kind of tougher to play down there. So if you have someone like a defense that's going to be structured and responsible, then
It is.
then it does make it a lot easier. So yeah, I don't know. I
100%.
know I have kind of switched here, but Samsonov, I've just never been a fan of just based on his style. So I'm still not super comfortable with a 50-50 split, but it's all going to come down to how the Leafs play in front of these goalies.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. How the defense is, we talked about that before. If the defense can play well, then you really don't have any worries. Jake McCabe on defense, he stepped up and made a huge hit tonight. Holy, took him right off his feet, clean too. Like
Super
Jake
clean.
McCabe's, he hit him with his head. Like Jake McCabe used his own head to knock the guy over right through his chest and just dummied him, like just like a battering ram, and flipped his legs up in the air. It was something you see at a Chell 24. What a game! Like what a hit that was.
Mashing circle.
And so Zibanejad comes in to muck around on a clean hit, and Jake McCabe drops his gloves. Nobody else does, and he I thought there was going to be issue, but it ends up being a power play for the Leafs somehow, some way. How does that even happen? Like I don't understand how Zibanejad goes in there, and I mean roughs him up a little bit. Sure, he deserves a roughing penalty, but like, how did they get the extra to put the Leafs on the power play in that situation? I don't even know, and I don't even care how it happened. I'm just glad it did. It's nice to see these things go our way every once in a while.
For sure. I mean, it's funny how like the rules have changed again, and we've gone back to where the Leafs got the 2 instigators, because like that is an instigator, even though you didn't drop the gloves. Like he took him out of the play by like going and grabbing him, and made Jake McCabe respond to the like thinking he was in a fight. So I think like you either don't give McCabe any penalty, and then there's just the 2 minutes for Zibanejad, or like you got to give him the extra. Like I just don't know which. It depends on which refs you're getting. Because if this was it last night or the game before that, where there's like a clear instigator on a McCabe hit again, and there was nothing. So like it just depends on what ref you get.
Yeah, the inconsistency of the NHL is disgusting.
It's brutal.
We were just talking about that last night, and it's so funny just to see today that it comes out on like every other platform, every other podcast that you see on social media. They're all talking about it. We're all talking about this.
I mean,
the inconsistencies are like they're so clear. They're not hidden well. They're not far and few between. I don't know the best way to put it, but like you can't just keep getting away with it. It's too consistently inconsistent.
Right. And the problem they're going to run into is with betting websites, because betting websites aren't going to want to cover a sport that you have to predict on referees as well. Like that's no fun for them to predict as the bookies, and it's no fun for people betting if like you have to change your bet based on like what referees are going to be in. Like that's just ridiculous. So that's where maybe they'll come to a crackdown and change something, is when Bet365 goes like, well, what the hell's all this stuff about the refs? Like, isn't there a rule book? I'm like, yeah, there's a rule book, but like we manage the game, so like it's a loose set of rules.
Yeah, they're more like guidelines.
Yeah, they're guidelines for us to pick and choose from.
Recommendations.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Yeah, so second last thing, I got 2 more things. Marner scores 2 tonight. For all the Marner haters, they've just been driving me nuts, and I've been getting into a little bit on Twitter. And I just want to laugh in the faces of everybody who is shitting all over Marner today, and just saying that, oh, he's lost his offensive touch, he's become subpar, he's not the same player, massive decline. Not going to go out and name any names, but like, if you ever see this, you know exactly who you are. And you are stuck in recency bias. Like, you couldn't believe. If he scored on one of the breakaway goals last night, everybody shuts their mouth. He scored 2 tonight. You're going to go on Twitter, it's going to be Marner praise and nothing else. You're going to hear nothing but crickets chirping. Nobody's going to be out there saying, Marner lost his offensive. The man put 2 in the back of the net tonight and probably has an assist. I haven't checked the final stats yet, but here, I can do that really quick. Like, he scored 2 goals. the point is like I don't understand how somebody can go for he goes for a couple games without scoring a goal, and you've seen him buzzing. Like he got an assist last night, and was integral in scoring the goals that they did to get back into the game, and all of a sudden he's lost his offensive touch and he's subpar. Like I totally disagree with
That's
that.
bad.
I mean, I'll shout out names. Justin Bourne on Kipper and Bourne. So he pointed out that in Marner's last 10 games, in each game, his expected goals is under 50%. And like I thought about that, and I was like, but he's had actually a couple like good games throughout that. So like that goes to show you that expected goals aren't everything. Like
No.
you have to watch the game, and he has a certain he throws the puck away sometimes, and it looks like it's his first time ever making a pass. But other times he does things that no one else in the league can do. So I'm on the bandwagon of he's the easiest guy to love because everything he does is beautiful when it goes right. And he's the easiest guy to hate because he wears his heart on his sleeve and the things he does wrong make him look silly. So it's the whole fan base is so willing to pile on him. But at the same time, like he will get his praises. So like it's hard to blame the guy for being so mixed emotions with the media and fans when everything he receives back is so mixed emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, obviously, for a guy who is good. For people to say a changed player or not the same player, that's quite a claim.
You're
That's
declining
quite
at
a claim.
26.
That's just way too far.
Yeah.
It's fine to point out games where he's not great, but
Sure.
to say he's
like
declining.
Steve Dangle did it too, and we can go ahead and punch up because it's okay to punch up.
Yeah, I'll always
I'm
punch
sure
up.
this other one is a cast that's ahead of us too, but it's not big enough that I want to go and knock them.
Right,
But like
yeah.
you know who you are. Get your head on your shoulders.
Are we
It's
like
2 fucking games. Like, guys, give me a break. Like, he's scoring points all the time, and yeah, his expected goals kind of fucking suck. But like, he's amazing. He's Mitch Marner. He's the fucking superstar of Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, I get that Austin Matthews scores a lot of goals, but like Mitch Marner is the offensive stud, and we're talking about all the time how many points he scores. He does it year after year. He hasn't lost his touch. He's slow start. You know, you pointed it out at the beginning of the year, and then we've been shitting on him ever since. He always starts slow. He always does this.
Yeah.
Dog days of winter come, dog days of the hockey season, and what happens? Mitch Marner stays true and consistent, and he keeps scoring points, and he still gets those 3 and 4 point nights. And that's how he ends up where he does at the end of the year. It's how it's always been. And Marner, if you go look back on his track record, I'm sure that it's very consistent. It looks inconsistent, but it's very consistent with the way that he's been. He hasn't lost his offensive touch. You go and actually watch Mitch Marner on the ice? You go watch the guy play hockey and you're going to tell me that he's lost his offensive touch? Go the fuck home to bed. You've had too much to drink.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we have a real leg to stand on this, and I know you guys have said a few names. I don't know the other one personally that you're talking about, but are we like a small time rapper like calling out like a big name right now, doing that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Good. I
Yeah,
think we got
like,
a leg to stand on this.
Nick Kiprios is all last season was saying that Marner's the guy that drives the bus. He's the engine for this team. And even today, even he turned on him. Not there to defend him. So, yeah, he's a lot. I want the people that will stand behind him, stand behind him.
Yeah.
yeah, well, there's that. I was also a little heated from the comment section. Got it.
You always are.
Twitter, right? As we started with this in Twitter, and like, you know, as soon as he scored the second one, I went right back into the old thread, scrolling through my notification. Ah, there it is. How's that? It's aged like milk. Fool. Stupid. Anyways, the last thing that I have is Noah Gregor was playing on the top line with Austin Matthews and William Nylander. What did you think of that, CP? Is that something that maybe Nyes could get bumped down and we could see Gregor spend some time? Because like it's not exactly like Nyes is killing it. He's a very skilled player. Like maybe the chem isn't there, but like you got to play together to get chem. What do you think?
I don't know. Like he really was only there because of the sickness. Like they went 11-7 tonight, so there was a few other like Nick Robertson got a few shifts on the top line as well. I felt like he did all of the things that Matthew Nyes does, and nothing more. So I'm not sold on it. I still think that I want to see Bertuzzi get, because like for all of the mashups, like he never got a shot up there, which I thought was odd. But
But I wonder
or
if
if
it's
he did,
because
I missed it.
I
But
wonder if it's because he makes John Tavares look so good. They're like, we just want to leave that alone because the other guys are really good, and we just need John to still be good so that contract doesn't look so bad. And plus, like, you need the chip in, right? So if you can make John good, then great. Obviously, like nobody else is carrying him like that. I think, honestly, we're like,
I'd
oh
say it's
well,
the
it's
other way
John
around.
and
But
Willie and whatever and whatever. But like, John's a great player, but like, the speed of Willie and the speed of Bertuzzi was why that line was so good when those three were together. And then they leave, and the speed and the forechecking. John Tavares is a great, strong, heavy guy. Gets in front of the net. He forechecks well, skates well enough, like strong on his feet. It's not like he's going to get knocked off the puck. He's not fast, but he's strong on his feet. But he doesn't get to the puck first. These guys that like William and Tyler Bertuzzi, and I mean even guys like Calle Yarncroke, that guy's got wheels getting in on pucks like that.
yeah, but
And
I would argue that none of them can do what John Tavares does. I also on the
no,
I
but they
hate
make him better. He needs players like that to make him better. So I don't think you take Willie. Like you have to, if you're going to take Bertuzzi away, you have to put Willie back down because if you're going to have big, speedy, like you're going to have John Tavares line be good, you need a guy who can go in and get the puck. Tavares is still very much capable of being that floater guy, and he does need a forechecker who's fast to go in and get pucks for him. I wonder how much like going to like Willie and Nyes with Tavares. Like it's
yeah.
still early in mid-season. Like I give that a shot, and then you could put Bertuzzi and Marner back up top. Like the Bertuzzi and Marner have clearly been working on the second line, so flip them up with Matthews, get Nylander back on the second line, and then ta-da! Like I don't know. What do you think
I
of
don't.
that?
Yeah, sure. I don't think that swapping the right wingers really matters. I think that if Nyes and will work with Tavares and Bertuzzi works with Matthews, I think Willie and Marner I think can fit on either spot. You know, like I think it's switchable.
Sure, but you can't put. Well, my whole point is you can't put Bertuzzi and Nylander on the same line because it
Why
takes
not?
away too much from one of the other lines because of that speedy player. I mean, Nyes is great, but he's not the fastest either. So if you're gonna have those guys who are gonna break out and whatever, Mitch doesn't cheat. I just think that with those two guys and the speed that they hold, unless you're gonna have a guy like Gregor or Yarncroke who's really really fast but not as good up in that top six, then you have to just keep them on different lines because it's all going to be all speed on one line and the next line is going to be slower. And that clearly hasn't worked. It's clearly worked in a way where you have speed separated, right? As you've seen that happen. It's like when they took the speed away, both lines started working again. Am I wrong? We haven't exactly gotten Austin going, but he's not off. Things are good on our top line right now. I am happy. I'm not upset with the way the top line's rolling since the Willie thing went in. I was hesitant and I was reluctant because the second line was so good. Second line's still good.
Yeah,
So
the only thing that I would say is I'm pretty sure that Matthew Nyes might be one of the fastest skaters on the Leafs. But other than that, though, I do agree with just like to me, I'm willing to try anything. Those six players, I think that you try all iterations of it, and then because we're in the middle of the season now. I feel like you've either gotten off to a hot start or you haven't. I think most people are fairly comfortable with how many points the Leafs have. Maybe not happy with how many regulation wins, but I think that this is the time to try, try all the suggestions that you just said, switch them all around, and then you can come to a decision of once it comes to the ending of the season of what you maybe need for trade deadline and what your favorite lineup is.
so then do you maybe flip, as we started all this with, do you maybe flip Gregor up now and try him more with Matthews and Nylander for right now, up on that top line? Because it is mid-season and maybe like Yarncroke's fitting in well in his spot. Like I think we're all decided that that's his spot and he's playing really well there, so we're just gonna leave him there. And maybe Gregor's this new guy that should be flipped in. Do you think that should happen? Do you see it actually happening? Is pretty much what I want to know. Like, realistically, do you think that he's going to get more time up there as soon as Nyes is back? This is how it is. They're not going to tinker too much.
Yeah, I do. I kind of think that Sheldon Keefe, once he has his fourth line guys, they don't become much more than that. Except starts to love them and he plays them in those spots. I think would like to see Gregor up there more because he just shows so many flashes of like Ilya Mikheyev, who is able to do more than just a fourth line role, and a lot of other players that are great. Maybe not first line guys, but to be a second line left winger, third line left winger, I think that is what I see from Gregor. So yeah, I'd like to see him be higher in the lineup. The only problem though then is that Nick Robertson is losing his spot here because I don't want to put Matthew Nyes on the fourth line and Nick Robertson on the fourth line. I'm not that crazy about because David Kampf has real responsibilities on this team. So that would be my only thought, and maybe that's me. Like Robertson's been used less and less, so maybe Bobby McMahon has a more permanent role here, and it's not to replace Ryan Reeves, or you just replace them both.
I think he might be onto something there, CP. I think he might be onto that. Bobby McMahon might get a bigger role. He looks pretty good.
He's a fourth line guy.
Yeah, he looks
Yeah.
he looks decent. Like he fills the spot. He's got a couple. He takes the puck to the net. I like that. He's strong, can hold on.
He was
to
a
it,
-2
well.
tonight.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, David Camp was a -1 though. So, but doesn't mean like he's just been back. So, and he's had success in the past. I don't think like Bob. A lot of people, I think, in the organization, even if it's not Bobby McMahon, can play a fourth line role better than Nick Robertson can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Nick Robertson might end up being trade bait
Yeah,
at this point. I like the player, but he
he
needs a new spot. He's gonna go out and he's gonna be, Trevor Moore somewhere. He's gonna be that
yeah
in like Seattle or something. Like who
yeah.
knows?
He's shown, I think, enough though. Like his value's gone up since he joined the Leafs, and I was afraid of it going down. But he has shown that he can stay in a lineup. He's not getting hurt immediately, and I don't think anyone can deny the shot that he has. So I think that like he has more value today than he did at the beginning of the season. So I think maybe it is time to pull the trigger. If like it's not about him, it's just he's not fitting into this lineup.
He still does not require waivers, though. So I mean, like, do you like send him down and just be like, "Well, we'll try again next year again"? Because like,
No, I don't want to keep doing that.
Like he's ours. Like I guess,
Yeah.
and like, when it comes to it, I mean, I guess if the right trade comes up and you can get value, but like, try again next year because like, it's gonna get to a point here where like I think maybe he might have a year and like maybe then he's really valuable, right? And like I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe
I
he
would
wants
want
to be on our team, and like I don't know, like yeah, as long as you have that kind of control, you have to wonder if a team's willing to give that kind of player up.
Yeah, I also think it depends on like I say that his value's gone up, but what do GMs around the league actually want to give up for him? And if it's not much, then maybe yeah, you do kind of just stash him again. But I would want to do more of the Kyle Dubas approach and give him kind of the shot he deserves somewhere else. Like I know that we technically have the rights to him, but some players just won't flourish in the transition from AHL to NHL, and they need an actual full 82 games to and then maybe the next season is their breakout season. So I think he maybe like falls into that category. So like very similar to Trevor Moore, who like needed actual NHL games to prove that or maybe prove to himself that like this that he can do it.
Yeah, he belongs there. The imposter syndrome. It's not uncommon. So yeah, big game. Leafs win 7-3 against the Rangers. They played yesterday against the Islanders and lost 4-3. So it's nice to see a win tonight. Play a lot this week. They play again on Thursday. So we'll be back after they face the Blue Jackets. And they are back home, it looks like now. So
Yeah.
that's nice. Be back on home ice, get some home cooking. And we will see how that all works out. The Blue Jackets are not a great team, and the Leafs love being bad against not great teams.
Yeah.
So, thanks everybody for listening. You can come check us out live on YouTube after every Leafs game, or check us out on the podcast sites or YouTube. Everything is recorded and left there for your viewing and listening pleasure. Thanks for listening to Split the Defense. We will catch you next time. Peace.
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 You've been listening to
Split the Defense.
Leafs Post-Game Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce,
Like this
and
video
producer
and
Ted
subscribe.
Evans.
Yeah, hit the
Subscribe.
like button. Leave a
Split
comment.
the
forget.
Defense.
Is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient
Like it.
service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.